Hey everybody, this is Owen with Overtake, and today we have a 2017 Toyota GT86, and we're going to be installing our new radiator hoses. So you guys know that we offer a lot of radiator hose fitments for tons of other Subaru fitments, but the BRZ and 86 version is a little unique in that there are 3 radiator hoses instead of just 2. Now we offer these in red and black. I think on this car I'm going to be going with red just because there's already a lot of black going on in the engine bay, but let's get them opened up here and see what's in the box. We have a nice pack by card, some packing material, and then we're getting into the hoses ourselves. So we have the 2 upper hoses and then our lower, some clamps, and then the overflow hose. And then of course we have a link to the install guide and a nice sticker. So now over here on the car, as I alluded to before, this kit's a little bit unique in that there are 3 hoses instead of just 2, and that is because there are 2 uppers here. On the BRZ and 86, the radiator actually sits at an angle like that, which lowers the upper radiator port, so they need to relocate the fill point, which conveniently is right here. That means you need a hose that goes down to the radiator and down to the engine. So this is just a high point. It's not all that different. So we're gonna get to draining the coolant here. First step is to pop the cap, and then we're gonna get the car up in the air. We're gonna be using our lift to get the car up. You can obviously do this on jack stands. It's just way easier for us to illustrate and get under the car to show you what's going on. So before we can get the lower radiator hose out and start draining the coolant, we do need to remove the bottom skid tray here. That is just a series of plastic clips down the sides and then 10 and 12 millimeter bolts holding it in the front and back. So now that we have the skid tray off here, we can see the lower radiator hose, and it's time to start draining the coolant out. Now, technically, over here on the passenger side of the vehicle, there is a drain on the radiator, but that we find that those often make a mess with the location. So we are gonna go ahead and just pull the clamp and pull the hose off the thermostat here and drain it that way. Okay, so now that this is all done draining here, or at least mostly done draining, we can go ahead and pull the factory lower hose off. And there's just a pinch clamp up here. So you gotta get up in here with a pair of pliers. So now the clamp just comes off of there. We can go ahead and pull off this factory hose. Pro tip, fold the hose, kink it like that so that no fluid can pass through. Okay, so now that we have the factory hose out, we can mimic the same orientation with the shorter leg up on the radiator side and the longer leg down on the thermostat. I'm gonna get this thrown up in here, get a clamp started on there, and then feed that onto the bottom of the radiator. All right, am I on there? So with the upper on there, we're gonna get a clamp thrown on the lower side and then get that installed onto the thermostat housing. Now we can go back in and we can tighten up both of these clamps. Elbow deep.
These are perfect lighting conditions.
So now that we have the bottom side all wrapped up, we're gonna come up top here and remove these upper 2 hoses. Now, we have discovered that it is easiest to actually undo the whole mounting bracket for the fill neck here. So it's just 2 10 millimeter bolts. Now we'll go ahead and start removing these hoses here. So it's just factory pinch clamps. Gonna get this one off of the coolant crossover pipe on top of the engine. Slide that back. And then, so I got the hose off the engine there. Now this is a little tight down here on the radiator side. But if you pinch the clamp while pulling this whole assembly off, it will all just come off as one. Now we can go ahead and get the factory hoses off of this fill neck. Okay, there we go. So we have our bracket. We can go ahead and start prepping this with the Overtake hoses. So we're gonna start with this shorter one here with the Overtake logo facing the front of the car, and it's gonna bend upwards. Now I'm gonna go ahead and loosely throw these bolts back in here. And I'll just leave them hand tight for now. And now we can get our last hose ready to go in here. So it's gonna have this kind of straight piece going towards the engine, and you can see it kind of kicks out to the left. That's gonna go onto the fill neck. So one pro tip I found is that these can be a little tight. Using a little bit of your coolant in there as a quick lubricant works great. Let that hose slip right into place. Make sure your clamps are over. Then we'll go ahead and get this installed on the engine side, just like that. And then it's just as simple as getting our clamps tightened up. So now that we have all of our hoses tightened up, the last step is to change out the expansion tank hose here. So we're just gonna pop the factory one off of the fill neck, get rid of this crusty hose, and then throw in the new Overtake one and slip that onto the barb on the fill neck here. And there we are. Now we can go ahead, and the last step is to just bleed out the coolant and go for a drive. Don't show me reusing coolant. I've got it mostly filled up, but I need to run the car just to cycle the rest of that through and open the thermostat. But that is where I'm gonna leave you here. If you are interested in picking up a set of radiator hoses for your first or second gen BRZ, 86, or FRS, they are available on overtakeusa.com in black or red. If you like what you've seen and want to follow along with us more, head on over to Instagram or Facebook and follow us at Overtake USA.